And out of adversity comes opportunity. The injury to Matt Morris has left a gaping hole in the starting rotation. This afternoon, Brett Tomko will try to step it up and do his part to fill the void. Cards Padres from San Diego next on Fox Sports Net. Well, the Cardinals are in the midst of 13 of 17 away from Busch Stadium. Thus far, they're 2-4 on the road trip to the West Coast, and the Padres this afternoon from Qualcomm Stadium are looking for their first sweep of the Cardinals since 1995. Now, the Redbirds have dominated San Diego since '99, only dropping 6 games. Welcome to the broadcast booth in San Diego with my partner Al Brabowski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Opportunity, and that's the chance here for the right-hander Brett Tomko.
Yeah, at least Brett Tomko has been honest with himself in saying that he has been horrible and embarrassed by what he's done. But he's got a chance right now to pick it up, and he must do that, not only on the road, but he also has to do it at home.
He has not won a game at Busch Stadium. He's 5-3 in his starts away from Busch, but he is a league leader in runs allowed and hits allowed. And Tony La Russa would have liked to have had a situation where he felt some pressure, but that's not the case here today.
No, it's not the case, so maybe you create it yourself, but he knows he has to step it up for his teammates.
We will take our first time out. The Cardinals begin the day 4 games out. Scott Rowland and the Redbirds trying to avoid the sweep. Cardinal baseball from beautiful San Diego is coming up on Fox Sports Net. Baseball on Fox Sports Net from San Diego is brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. By your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the Cardinals. By Pennzoil. Not just oil, Pennzoil. And by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares. Just a gorgeous day for baseball. Glad you could join us. A rare day game on the West Coast that we're bringing to you back home in St. Louis and across Mid-America. Glad you could join us on Fox Sports Net. Our Bud Sports crew, Al Brabowski, Dan McLaughlin with you. There's Tony La Russa in his 26th season as a Major League manager, and his club comes in today with a record of 51-49, and on the road, the Redbirds have struggled at 22-29. Bruce Bochy is the winningest manager in Padres history. His club still not at that 40-win plateau. They're 39-63. They're under the 500 mark here at home, and they start today 25 games out in the National League West Division. But they get a big addition to their lineup and to their club. Phil Nevin has been activated. He'll play in his first ball game this afternoon. A look at the Cardinals lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Hart, Drew, Pujols, Martinez, Roland, Renteria, Robinson, Widgers behind the plate. Brett Tomko, very good hitting pitcher, batting .323 on the season, is on the mound and batting ninth. On the mound for San Diego, a look at their right-hander, Brian Lawrence. He was their opening day starter, a record of 5-11. He suffered the loss, a 4-2 loss against the Cardinals earlier this season. That was back at Busch Stadium. He is our Jeep starter, a ground ball pitcher. This guy can be very effective, Al.
Well, he can be, but he won 12 games last year. You see, he struggled with 5-11. He's lost 4 of his last 5 decisions. But he is a poor man's Greg Maddux. And he has some weapons, and you're very correct in saying he's a ground ball pitcher.
1-2 in his career with a 2.83 ERA against St. Louis. A look at the Auto Tire defense for the Padres. Middle of the pack in the National League as far as fielding percentage. White, Kotze, and Nevin. He's playing right field today. They are in the outfield. Hansen, Vasquez, Loretta, Klesko on the infield. Ojeda, who had that walk-off home run on Monday night, is behind the plate. And, of course, Lawrence is on the mound. And there's a look at Nevin. Remember, it was a trade that was going to send him to Cincinnati for Ken Griffey Jr., but Jr. did not want to do that.
Right, and Phil Nevin is making his 2003 debut this afternoon. He separated his shoulder in spring training. Wasn't supposed to be activated for a few more days, but I think he had enough for the minor leagues. Chartered a jet, came back from Northern California, and will play here this afternoon.
Bo Hart will lead it off for the Cardinals, hitting .328, a pair of hits in the ball game last night to go along with a home run and 11 RBIs. He also made a dandy play on the outfield grass to take a hit away. The first pitch at 2:07 and a strike to Bo Hart.
Now, Bo has hit safely in 22 of his first 30 games, but just 4 for his last 28. And Speaking of second basemen, it's good to see Fernando Vina today.
We hope that he will join us in the broadcast booth at some point this afternoon. He's got a busy schedule, meeting with Dr. George Paletta, the Cardinal team doctor, who is also in San Diego. The 1-1 pitch to Bo Hart. Misses low and away. Behind the plate, Brian Runge is the home plate umpire. Ed Montague at first base. Brian Gorman at second. Bruce Dreckman, the third base umpire. A count of 2 balls and a strike on Bo Hart, and he pulls it foul. 2-2. J.D. Drew is on deck, and then Albert Pujols. The Cardinals lead the National League with a .285 batting mark, 5 points higher than second place Atlanta, 22 points better than the league average of .263.
But that has been on the decline.
And many times when a team does not hit, it looks flat. They may not be flat, but when you don't hit, and especially this lineup, you look flat.
Yeah, and it's a lineup that's got a little nagging injuries. You know, every day we have to wait for 2 or 3 slots to be filled out.
That was the case today. Bo Hart did not go around. Cardinals were awaiting word on J.D. Drew and Jim Edmonds. Could he play with that sore right shoulder? And it just seems like, and you'd have to go back and take a real good look at it, but how many times have they had their full healthy lineup this season? A strikeout of Bo Hart on the outside corner. First out in this ball game.
Lawrence will pitch on both sides of the plate. He will walk his share, and that's why it was a borderline pitch, and I think it was a pitcher's pitch, and he gets the call.
A getaway day, a big zone behind the plate, maybe. Here's J.D. Drew, who looks at a ball outside. J.D. played in 3 consecutive games and then took last night off.
When we showed you J.D., he was to the left of the pitcher. He was over here, and you can see where Pujols, as usual, always trying to get a little better angle so he can see what it looks like standing in the right-handed batter's box.
Count of 2 balls and 1 strike on J.D. Drew. Lays off that delivery with Pujols on deck. Would have been nice to see Albert come into the ball game last night in the 9th inning. He was left standing on deck as Paul Merrill could not reach. And J.D. gets underneath this one on a 3-1 pitch into left center field. That'll carry out to Rondell White for the second out. Art Bradley is the True Value pick and predict sweepstakes contestant. He's already won a $25 gift certificate to Schneider True Value in St. Peters. If Jim Edmonds hits for the cycle, but Jim is not in the lineup, but you never know, he might get in there. Could be a long game.
It could be a real long game, but we will predict that Jim won't make it.
Sorry, Art.
Art.
So Art Bradley, not much of a chance at that $100 grand, but thanks for going to your True Value hardware store. The numbers for Pujols, 3 for 8 in this series. Taps it off the plate, and a foul ball.
Now, one of the things when you have a sinker baller like Lawrence, you're going to try and get him to elevate his pitches, and they feel he can have some control problems, and you've seen already the first 2 hitters have worked it to a 3-ball count. But he's definitely ahead of Albert here, who is the National League leader with that .371 average. Jose Guillen. And now he gets his wish to play every day.
With Ken Griffey Jr. out, home run department, it's Barry Bonds at 31, and Pujols and Edmonds tied at second place with 29. And RBIs, Pujols only 2 behind Preston Wilson, so still a very legitimate shot for that Triple Crown. And he pulls this one foul and out of play. Not much of a crowd this afternoon. About 22,000 here last night and the night before.
Usually you'll see a real difference on fly balls, how much more they'll carry during the day. Small crowd, but this is the opening of the Del Mar racetrack. You know, you've been there before on
yes,
opening
I have.
day, and actually the Padres tried to change the time. They tried to make it a night game once they realized that Del Mar was opening up today, but with a new labor agreement, a club going east has to play a day game.
Now, who do you think took me to Del Mar?
Mr. Shannon, Mr. Shannon.
Yes, he did.
And he'll have his night at the races to benefit CBC. I think that's August 23rd.
Yep.
You and I will both be there
Full
at Fairmont
count.
Park.
And Pujols draws a 2-out walk. The cleanup man today is Tino Martinez.
Tino was another slot was kind of left open. And then we saw kind of his name written on a piece of paper and said, well, he's able to play, and eventually found the 4th spot in the batting order once Edmonds was not able to.
Tino batting .274. Hit the ball hard. The ball game yesterday. Hit into some tough luck. Had 2 hits the night before. Lines this one into center, and it drops for a hit. Off of Katse, Pujols is going to score. He's being waved home, and Martinez will wind up at second base. That ball was scorched off the knee or the leg of Mark Katse, the center fielder. And the Cardinals this season 5-2 when Martinez hits cleanup.
All right, Tino. But you're absolutely right about hitting in tough luck. He's hit the ball hard several times, and this was one of the first breaks. A clean single out to center field. And this ball, it gets so close to Katse, it goes off the knee. Karam's far enough away that Pujols was able to score from first base, and Tino finds himself in scoring position. No RBI on the play, but single and E8.
Chance here for Scott Rowland. So a 2-out hit, and there's another one. Martinez, he's being waved home. Rondell White will get it back in, and the Cardinals have themselves a 2-0 first inning lead. 2-out hits back-to-back. Martinez and Rowland, and the Cardinals up 2-0.
Well, you need to do that, and just a situation where you got to pick up. Now the ball starts out there, and you see the sinking action, but once it got over the head of the shortstop, Tino knew he had clear sailing, and with 2 outs, he's going to be running on contact anyway. But it was nice to see Scotty pick up his 67th RBI, and right out of the chute, a 2-0 lead for Tomko.
Here's Edgar Renteria. Pitch up in the zone, but a strike. 77 miles per hour. Floating in there to Renteria, batting .325, 10 home runs, and 63 RBIs. Edgar still in the top 10 in batting average, hitting .325, just ahead of Steve Finley and Luis Castillo of Florida.
He's had 10 or more home runs in 5 straight seasons. Just another solid year, but what are you going to do between now and the end of the season?
He taps this one down that third base line, and a foul ball. It's an off day tomorrow for St. Louis. And then the Cardinals will welcome Pittsburgh to town. They have 11 games remaining with the Pirates, and that'll be a new look team for Lloyd McClendon's club, as Tony La Russa will have a nice day in Napa Valley, and so will we tomorrow.
That's right. Go up to Napa for his golf tournament to benefit Art, and you're going to have a great time up there.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Pitch misses on the outside corner. Pitch number 25 already in this first inning. Got the first 2 men. Bohart struck him out looking, then J.D. Drew flied to left, but then it's been a walk and a back-to-back base hits. The Cardinals with a lead of 2-0. 2-2 the count on Edgar.
See already the Cardinals being very patient. 26 pitches thrown. Not a good ratio at all. A lot of deep counts. Knocked that starter out early.
Renteria spoils that delivery. Cardinals start tonight 4 games back. San Diego 25 games out. We've talked about this, that Bochy, some believe, could be on the hot seat as San Diego moves into their new stadium next year. A downtown facility, baseball only facility for the Padres. Playing in their 35th season at this ballpark.
You know, I was talking to former St. Louis and Bill Foss last night. And Bill was telling me that it's going to be a really neat ballpark, but, and see, we were right. It's 253 again today.
Yep.
But there's no parking.
Up the middle, the shortstop Vasquez ranging to his left. And Edgar is out number 3. But the Cardinals with back-to-back singles from Martinez and Rowland. It's 2-0. Bottom of the first coming up. Diego and the former Padre will go for the Cardinals this afternoon. That is Brett Tomko. And this is the lineup that he will face. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Vasquez, Kotze, Loretta, Plesko, Nevin, White, Hanson, Ojeda. And then the pitcher Lawrence batting 9th. Our Southwest Airlines starting lineup. So Brett Tomko, who is yet to win a ball game for the Cardinals at Busch Stadium, has 5 wins this season, all on the road. He is our Jeep starter, a record of 5-6. ERA is over 5, and opponents, look at that, hitting over 300 against him. He's allowed the most hits in the National League and the most runs. And he talked about how he was embarrassed and very disappointed in himself with that first half that he had. He expected to come over and be an essential part to the starting rotation. And prior to the injury to Matt Morris, his spot in the rotation, Tomko's, was in jeopardy.
Well, Dave Duncan really predicted him to be a 16-game winner.
All right.
Here is Vasquez, a leadoff man for the Padres, looks at his strike. Here's our Geico Direct quote of the day. I've been horrible. I'm in a great situation, great offense, great defense. I'd be in great shape if I just been average. Brett Tomko. And that is a foul ball.
First innings have been a struggle for him. He's allowed 25 of his 87 runs in the first inning, and has accounted for a 9.47 ERA in the first. So, I mean, he puts himself and his teammates in the hole.
This is the first time he has faced the Padres since that December trade. Lefties hitting .321 against him. Righties .307. And see what they've done all the way through. First time, second time, and third time. All 3 above .300. There's a pitch inside, and that's something that Tomko has got to do more of that he did not do in the first half of the season. You barely saw him pitch inside and at least establish the inside portion of the plate.
Well, you know me, and there you go. It's a strikeout, it's away, but do not walk people. So you see he's kind of way away from the plate. Started to take off going to first, and he gets rung up by the umpire.
Here's the Cardinals defense, brought to you by Auto Tire. Pujols, Drew, and Robinson in the outfield. Roland, Renteria, Hart, and Martinez on the infield. And Chris Widger is behind the plate as Kotze takes the ball. The second man in the order. He'll be followed by Mark Loretta.
Danny, we talk about, pitching inside. And I've always kind of think it's fun to look at home runs allowed versus how many batters you hit. You got to hit a batter, you got to pitch inside, right?
Yep. That is inside that first base line and down into the Cardinal bullpen. Robinson will play it and get it back in. So a 1-out double for Kotze.
See, that's inside, but it's really inner half, and he's able to turn on it and get an extra base hit. He's allowed 23 home runs. He's only hit 1 batter. So when he pitches inside, it's like that. It's still in the strike zone. They're well off the plate. And I wonder if this is kind of, we've seen the first 2 left-handers. Gary Robinson, by the way, makes a nice play here. It can be very troublesome down there. And look at the ball hits the carom and almost gets away from him, but very quick reflexes, reaches down with his left hand and comes up with the ball. But it might be interesting that these guys know Tomko does not pitch inside. Maybe he's going to try to, and so they're a little further off the plate.
Breaking ball in there for a strike to Mark Loretta. Ryan Klesko, the cleanup man, on deck. Loretta's solid season. He is 3 for 7 in this series. Loretta, a very nice play to end the ball game last night.
Yeah, people, I mean, we kind of glossed over it because of other storylines.
There's a base hit up the middle. Drew coming on. A play at the plate, a strong throw, but Widger is up and away from the box. And San Diego, a first inning run against Brett Tomko, their former teammate. And the lead is now 2-1 in favor of the Cardinals. Loretta with his 39th RBI.
Well, Danny, I think there's a couple things here. See that sinker coming in on him, but it's still too much of the plate. Aggressively, JD comes in here, throws the ball, but there was no way, it was way offline. There's no way it was going to get the runner. And so Widger did do the right thing by going up in front of the plate. But you know what? One of the reasons why Tomko is winless at home is that problem that he has in the first inning. His team is always, shoulders are slumping because they're always having to battle from behind. Here on the road, they give him a 2-run lead, and already he's given one back.
Here's Ryan Klesko, a free swinger, power hitter, California native, and he loves it here in San Diego. 8 years with the Braves, his 4th with the Padres. Klesko, an interesting story. He would have been a first-round pick as a pitcher, but then he blew out his elbow, became a hitter, and now he's one of the top power hitters in the National League. And he credits Willie Stargell for helping him get to the major leagues as a hitter.
Well, that was because Willie was in the Atlanta Braves organization at that time.
Right. There's a trade with Kilby O'Veris and Wally Joyner. Reggie Sanders was part of that deal with Atlanta. And Klesko was sent to the Padres. Falls behind. He's in the hole with a ball and 2 strikes.
Tomko, and you know, he's assumed the responsibilities, but you'd like to see him come out there with a little better body language, come out and show his teammates that, hey, you know, I appreciate you got me 2 runs. I'm going to make it hold up.
As Klesko pulls it foul. He struck out the first man, Vasquez, in this inning. A double by Kotze, and now single by Loretta.
You know me, when you see some of these new terminologies in baseball, one is good mound presence. And I say, what does that mean? You take a beating and you like it? You don't get upset? Sometimes you have to get mad.
A swing and a miss, and a strikeout of Klesko.
And there, he showed a little emotion after he got the ball by Klesko. And that's all the teammates want, is they want to see that you care, that you got a little pride. Klesko was trying to go downtown. And, you know, all Brett needs to do is get out of this inning, still have a 1-run lead, regroup a little bit, and tell his teammates that that's it. You're not going to get any more. And everybody appreciating Phil Nevin and how quickly he came back once he went on the rehab.
San Diego's 3-time MVP from '99 to 2001. He has batted .293 with 108 doubles and 375 RBIs, over 100 home runs, and under 600 games for San Diego. Very good friend of the Kyle family, of course.
I was just thinking that, and it was very helpful to the Kyle family. And last year is actually, he and his wife were the ones that they notified to get to Flynn, who was out here in Southern California, to notify her and help her get to Chicago.
As we mentioned before, Ken Griffey Jr. had a no-trade clause in his contract, so he exercised that clause, and Phil Nevin stayed here in San Diego, and Jr. is done for the season with Cincinnati. 3-1 the count on Phil Nevin.
Phil played with Jim Edmonds in Anaheim, and those two are very close.
And he pulls this to the shortstop, Renteria. Forced play with Bohart covering at second. And we played one here in San Diego. Cardinals on top, 2-1. To San Diego, a look at our first of three. Bank of America higher standards, and the Cardinals offense, as we've talked about from day one, one of the best in the National League, but that ERA and the pitching staff has been decimated by the loss of Matt Morris. Pitcher was hit on his pitching hand and a broken bone, out a minimum of 3 to 6 weeks. We've heard rumblings in some reports that could be out the remainder of the season. You hope that's not going to be the case, as Kerry Robinson will lead it off here in the second inning.
Just how quickly does it heal?
Robinson shoots this one to center field. Kotsay is back. Ground number 1. Robinson looks a little bit better at the plate. Stung that ball, but it carried out to Kotsay. Friday, the Cardinals take to the field when they have a visit from Brian Giles and the Pittsburgh Pirates at Busch Stadium. Coverage of the series begins Friday at 6:30 with the award-winning Cardinals tonight, 7 o'clock, the first pitch. Cardinals and the Pirates, game 1 of a 4-game set. That will be cap night at the ballpark, and good seats are still available if you can't join us here on Fox Sports Net. We've got Christian Family Day on Saturday, and good seats remaining there, and seats remaining as well on Sunday and Monday afternoon as Widger drives it down the left field line but pulls it foul.
Hey, you got to just buy a ticket to find what's left of the Pirates.
It's unbelievable.
Who's left? And they're still going to be trying to deal. The aforementioned Giles is one of the guys rumored. Also Benson and Kendall. So who's going to be left?
Kendall would be tough to move as Widger picks up the base hit. He's just 6 for 33 in his Cardinal days, but it's a one-out hit. Kendall's a guy that's in the midst of a $60 million contract, and his status behind the plate has diminished a little bit as far as being a top catcher in the league, but he is a San Diego native. There's been talk about the Padres looking at him, and also at Giles too.
Sure. So Red Tomko, Cardinals pitching, they lead the National League in offense too, led by Tomko and his .323 average.
This pitching staff has been something else. The Cardinals pitchers are leading the National League with a .230 average, 86 points higher than the league average of 144. And Tomko has 8 sacrifices, one behind the team leader Matt Morris with 9. And with 1 out, he steps in. Second inning, 2-1 ball game in favor of the Cardinals.
And now that the corners are very aggressively charging, you never know. Might switch off. Show bunt early, pulls it back, show bunt again. Many times the bench will order that pitcher to throw to first just to allow the coaching staff and Bruce Bochy to read the body language or the intent from Tomko at the plate.
A bunt attempt. And it's strike 2. Tomko, of course, acquired from the Padres in December for Luther Hackman.
And they're kind of very poor technique of trying to get that sack down.
You always talk about trying to catch the ball with the bat, and that certainly wasn't the way to go about it there.
No.
So count of no balls and 2 strikes on the pitcher Tomko.
We're around early, have your knees flexed a little bit.
And Lawrence drops down and misses with a ball outside. It's 1-2.
And the thing about Tony La Russa is the defense never really knows what he's going to do with his pitchers, because it at times changes from pitch to pitch, especially with a guy like Tomko.
Goalhart is on deck. The runner is going, and the pitch is hit, and a one-hopper to the second baseman, Loretta.
Just like that, you know, it's not uncommon for him to send that runner and put things in motion. And Tomko, he steps in the bucket, but he does a nice job with his hands to hit behind the runner. So here you watch, he's fooled by the pitch, and you know the feet are going one way, but the hands were still in a hitting position. Hit behind the runner, and he does advance it.
And the batter will be Bo Hart. Struck out looking on the outside corner to begin the ball game. And a fastball misses low and in to Bo. Cardinals begin the day with a record of 51-49, 4 games out in the Central. Houston is 8-2 in their last 10. They're playing very good baseball. They'll be at Milwaukee tonight. Roy Oswalt against Glendon Rush, and Rush has just been terrible this season. A record of 1-12 for Glendon Rush. He's better than that.
Better than that, and you hope he has a little pride and wants to compete against Oswalt. The one scary thing about Houston is Oswalt and Miller haven't pitched as well as they're capable.
No. A stab there by Lawrence, and Bo Hart is 0 for 2. The Cardinals strand a man. That's Widger at second. Bottom of the second coming up. On Friday, July 25th, that'll be this Friday, the Cardinals play the Pirates at Busch Stadium at Southwest Airlines Baseball Cap Night. The first 25,000 fans ages 16 and over with a paid admission will receive a specially designed stretch fit baseball cap, compliments of Southwest Airlines, the official airline of the Cardinals. And a live look inside the Fox Sportsnet truck. Doug Stanton rubbing the head there of Tom Mee. A good look at the back of Tom Mee and Ken Samuel, our director and producer. Real good look at those guys. Caught their best sides. Rondell White slaps it to the opposite way. Robinson can't make the play, and it rolls to the wall. White is around second. White is heading into third, and it's a leadoff triple to start the bottom of the second. Tremendous effort out there by Kerry Robinson. It looked like he was going to close on that ball. Got a fairly decent jump, but just about a step short.
And I think that the difference is the way it travels during the day, and slicing that ball just jumps off his bat just beyond his reach. JD backing up the play, gets to the ball after Kerry comes up empty. And a leadoff triple. Don't just go out there, don't complicate things trying to make, you try to pitch your ball game. I get that pop up in the infield right now, but don't worry about trying to protect that run and give up 4 more.
There's Dave Hansen. He is one of the top pinch hitters in the game of baseball over the last few seasons. He's pinch hit a couple of times in this series. And a start today for Bruce Bochy's club. Dave Hansen is the third baseman. Sean Burrows is on the bench. A ball and a strike rolling in at third base. That's a good pitch there.
And on the hands.
There's Sean Burrows. A count of 1-2 on Hansen, who shares the single season record for pinch hit home runs. He had 7 back in 2000. And Craig Wilson, who always hits the Cardinals well, is tied with that record for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And one is slapped foul and out of play.
Hansen getting a little playing time as Sean Burrows is 1 for 17 on this homestand, and he has a barking shoulder. Now that Tomko's got 2 strikes, now he can try and strike out the batter.
And he does, as Widger holds on. Strikeout number 3 this afternoon for Tomko.
There you go right there, and the bottom falls out of that pitch. Tomko's got good stuff. It's just sometimes you have to hope that he'll reach down and get a little inner strength and a little fire in the belly.
And sometimes that strength doesn't mean throw it as hard as you can with that sinker.
No, and I mean, he's got a good sinking pitch, which doesn't correlate with 23 home runs allowed, 3rd most in the National League.
Ojeda was the hero with the walk-off home run on Monday night. It was against Lance Painter. He was scheduled to start the ball game last night, but then taken away, and he gets the start in the day game. The infield is drawn in.
Yeah, I talked to Michael about it, and he said he had a little eye irritation and blurred vision.
That's a good pitch on the outside corner. A count of 1 ball and 1 strike.
Young man from Weymouth. Been pretty good in this situation. 6 times he's encountered a runner at third base in less than 2 outs, and all 6 times he's gotten them in. Got a nice average with runners in scoring position.
Signed out of the Mexican League. He was with Mexico City Club last year, as that one misses low and in.
429 with runners in scoring position. Had the walk-off home run, and that wasn't a cheap one at all.
Not at all. 2-1 the count. Up the middle, and a base hit. The game is tied. A run in the first, another here in the second, and it's 2-2. 19 RBIs for Ojeda after the triple by White. He's driven in with his single up the middle.
And 7 times, and that ball's in the center of the plate, just hit back up the middle. 7 times now he's delivered in that situation.
And it brings in the pitcher, Brian Lawrence. 2 sacrifices on the season.
Got 9 hits and a .231 average, so be careful with him.
He looks at a strike. Ramon Vasquez is the on-deck hitter. Chicago, by the way, is playing later tonight at Wrigley Field. They'll play host to the Philadelphia Phillies. Randy Wolf against Matt Clement. As we told you, the Astros at Milwaukee. Roy Oswalt against Glendon Rush. Jeremy Robertson winning his 9th straight decision as the runner goes and the pitch is foul.
We'll be playing the Pirates over the weekend in a 4-game set, then back on the road. But during that time, the Cubs and Astros will be playing each other. So
that's why it's a key series this weekend.
That's right. Need a little momentum. Need to win this game going into that series. And then we, can I say it, root for the Cubs?
You can say it. You can say it.
Okay, I said it.
Chance at a double play here. Renteria will take it himself. A throw to first and a double play. So Brian Lawrence hits into the double play to end the inning. We head to the third. It's 2-2 from San Diego. Matchup. The Cardinals record, home and road, 29-20 at Busch Stadium. And just about everything is better in batting average, runs per game, home runs per game, and ERA. And on the road, the Cardinals under the 500 mark at 22-29. To me, the key stat of this season, Al, is this one. Monday night's loss was the 12th suffered by the Cardinals in the opposing team's final at bat. So they've done that 12 times now. 5th game to have ended in a walk-off home run, and the 22nd home run allowed by Cardinal pitchers in the 9th inning or later. I mean, those are some games where they are crushing defeats, and your dauber is a little down when you have that walk-off home run. And how many times have the Cardinals come back and won games like that? Not many.
No, really haven't been able to utilize Izzy as much as you would like. But with all the negatives and all the pitching problems we have, we're still in striking distance.
Yep. Here's J.D. Drew. The Cardinals are in the midst of 13 straight games against teams with losing records. You still have 11 games left with Pittsburgh, 8 with Chicago, including a 5-game series in early September against the Cubs at Wrigley. That'll be a wild series. And you've got 6 games left with Houston. That's what gives you hope when you look at any other division in baseball. The Cardinals might say, well, it might not be our year, but you're in the Central Division of the National League, and you have got a chance because 86, 87, 88 wins might win it. That's a good piece of hitting by J.D. Drew to the opposite field. A leadoff hit to start the third.
I still maintain if we see that more frequently from J.D., you will get more pitches grooved to him. But off-speed pitches or pitches away, you rarely see him with that very solid approach going the opposite field. And that is so sweet to see that.
And the batter is Albert Pujols. There goes J.D. Drew. He's off and running. A swing and a miss. A throw to second. And they got him. As Drew is gunned down and in a little bit of a collision out there in that play at second. He hops up. He's all right. And that's the first out here in the third. trying to get something going with Pujols and Drew, and JD is gunned down at second base.
Well, you remember you got a sinker ball pitcher, so he's going to get a lot of ground balls that would be double play balls, but unfortunately he doesn't throw a strike, and JD goes in hard. Boy, you see right there, by going sliding feet first, Loretta has to do a yeoman's work to hold on to that ball, and how a lot of middle infielders don't want to put their hand down there because they can get hurt.
That's a good pick and tag as well.
And like you said, you know, it does a good job to hold on to that ball. Loretta is a very, very solid player.
Now, the Cubs had shown some interest in Mark Loretta prior to the trade that they made last night with Pittsburgh. Loretta can play third base. Plays second with the Padres, obviously. That carries out to right field. And in the ball game last night or the night before, that might drop for a hit. That just kept on carrying to Phil Nevin.
Talked about it last night, the very tough play he made to finish this ball game. This was not easy. And remember, a bang play at first, and if he doesn't make that play, you know, Pujols comes up here. With Pujols hitting, now stays in there, tough-nosed player, and takes the brunt of that collision, but stays in the game.
Martinez is 2 for 2. Hit the ball hard twice. First time laced it to center field, and Kotze on a one-hopper couldn't really handle it.
Well, the difference is he's gotten the ball through the infield. He's been hitting the ball right on the nose like this, but they've been at somebody and getting picked. And Tino told him today in the clubhouse that I said, you know, hey, we got to get away from this bad luck again. You know, if somebody's going to have bad luck, it's usually Tino swinging.
Here's Scott Rowland. Rowland with an RBI base hit, his first time up. He was part of a critical play in the game last night, trying to start a double play that Martinez, we thought he had the tag on the runner at first. That double play would have ended the inning. Instead, it gave the Padres the go-ahead run.
You know, Scott Rowland was a tennis player in high school.
No, I didn't.
And was 26-0 in his senior year.
I knew he was a basketball player.
Yep.
I would think he would make a great tight end.
And he was 26-0 in singles record in tennis during his senior year at Jasper High.
The tennis haven in the middle of Indiana.
Absolutely.
Renteria waiting on deck. That is drilled into right center field for a base hit. Martinez around second, as Kotze will get it in. And Martinez and Rowland are combined 4 for 4. And this is our Nextel direct connect hit. Good job of hitting there by Rowland, just to go with the pitch, and hits it into right center field.
Well, one of the things you got to do against a sinker ball is you got to get him to elevate the ball. And if it starts out about, you know, mid thighs or something like that, lay off it, because it'll fall to the bottom. The only thing you do is pound at the ground. That one was up like Tino's, and you can see the line drives are going to the outfield.
Here's Renteria, grounded out to short. First time up. It's been 2 out hits that have helped out the Cardinals this afternoon. Another 2-out hit. Another RBI with 2 outs for Edgar Renteria. The Cardinals have regained the lead on Edgar's 64th RBI. It's 3-2 St. Louis.
2 for 2, and he's got 4 hits in this inning, but only 1 run. But there's another ball up, and that ball will get over the infield. Another base hit. So the offense keeps on plugging away, and they're going to keep on getting Tomko the lead. His responsibility to shut down the Padres. 7
hits already for the Cardinals in the first 3 innings. We started the ball game last night asking the question, are the Cardinals going to be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline? And Walt Jocketty saying this morning that he is playing this season for championship this year. They're going to try and improve the ball club for this season and not look too much ahead to next year. You try to make trades that help you in both years, but he's still concentrating on trying to win the Central.
Sure, and rightfully so.
Like we said before, you got all those games against Central Division opponents. You got a chance. As Klesko puts away the final out. Scott Rowland with a base hit. He's 2 for 2. Martinez 2 for 2. Renteria an RBI base hit as well. All on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Subway. Try one of Subway's chicken international subs on new gourmet bread. Subway, eat fresh. And by Pappas Toyota in St. Peters. For the best price and service, they've got it at Pappas. Bottom of the third in San Diego, and the Cardinals have regained the lead. It's 3-2 as Brett Tomko will go to work and face the top of the order. Vasquez, Kotze, and Loretta. Fastball in there for a strike. Ramon Vasquez was caught looking his first time up. You can email us in the booth at foxsports.com, keyword Cardinals booth. Again, foxsports.com, the keyword Cardinals booth. We know a lot of folks will be getting home from work, so we'll update how the Cardinals have gotten their 3 runs with 2 out hits. RBI by Scott Rowland, RBI by Renteria. There was a single and an error on Tino Martinez. Base hit up the middle. The error by Kotze allowing Albert Pujols to score the first run of the ball game. Count of 1 and 2 on Vasquez. On deck, Kotze, and then Mark Loretta, if anybody can reach, to extend it to Klesko. Ground ball to the second baseman, Bo Hart. It's out number 1 as Vasquez is 0 for 2. Mentioned that Houston up by 4 games, Chicago 4.5 games out, Pittsburgh 9.5. Then you had Cincinnati and Milwaukee. The best record right now in baseball, the Atlanta Braves, 66 and 33. So Philadelphia along with Florida and Montreal playing for that wild card. San Francisco is leading out west. They have a record of 63 and 37. The Diamondbacks are 9 games out. They've just in the last 7 days gotten Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson back in their rotation.
Going to take advantage of that series against each other.
Right. A ball and a strike on Kotze, doubled and scored in the first inning on the RBI base hit by Loretta. Kotze, that double was down the first base line. Three and 1 the count. Kotze, a former Florida Marlin player. Into right center field. Robinson over to get it. Kotze thinking 2. Throw into second. Right on the mark, but the tag is not there. Looked like the throw had beaten him, and Renteria, who rarely says anything to an umpire, discusses it briefly with Brian Gorman. That was a good throw by Kerry Robinson, the right fielder. And here comes Tony La Russa.
And Tony, from our angle, and it's pretty much the same one that Tony sees, it appeared as if Renteria got the tag down in time before he got to the bag. But that is Brian Gorman. And he saw it completely different than Renteria and Tony.
Well, here it is a one hopper and a good strong throw from Kerry Robinson.
Question is, does he get his hand in there ahead of the tag? This angle will have a better look.
He might have.
Might have, yeah. Very, very close play, and it looks like that hand gets to the bag ahead of the glove.
Good work by our crew here in San Diego. Our thanks to them as always.
Bang, bang play, and it looked like he was safe.
Here's Loretta, who singled up the middle to get San Diego on the board. Kotze a pair of doubles, and he was hustling right out of the box.
That's it. You know, you leave the batter's box thinking 2, then you make the defense stop you. And the ball kind of plugs the gap out in right center. An awkward throw for carry. Left-handed thrower, made a strong one, but just a hustling play at both ends.
You also scout those outfield arms, and carry not one of the strongest arms out there in right.
But you know, it's stronger than you think, and as long as you're quick to the ball and release, you can stop runners.
And he's proven to be very accurate. Robinson is in right today. J.D. Drew in center, and Edmonds, nursing that sore right shoulder, is on the bench. He tweaked that during the All-Star home run hitting contest and made it a couple of rounds, and it's cost him now in this first week back in the second half. Cardinals have given Tomko the lead. Let's see if he can shut down San Diego. Cardinals started with a 2-0 lead. The Padres tied it up 2-2, and now it's 3-2 St. Louis. Mark Loretta, graduate of Northwestern University.
Loretta is a good hitter, and you know, a lot of the other guys, you have to hit a mistake. This guy can work the count. He can spray the ball around.
We were talking about that last night. Bruce Bochy, along with Dave Magadan, the hitting coach, saying that of anybody in this lineup, and that includes now Phil Nevin, this is the guy that does not waste an at bat. Mark Loretta. Count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a foul ball.
The more you see of Loretta, the more you appreciate. Sure, he has some things that, you know, maybe criticize power or this or that, but if you concentrate on the things he does well, he's a player you desire to have.
Earlier this season, he went 49 consecutive games without committing an error. 50 pitches thrown by Brett Tomko. 2 Southern California natives hooking up here, Loretta and Brett Tomko. Hit into left center field. That is going to drop for a base hit. And the game is tied. Loretta is thinking too. The throw into second, and they got him. Good throw into second. Round number 2 as Katse scores the 3rd run this afternoon for San Diego. We're all tied at 3-3.
Now we talk about good hitting, and that's what he did. Fouled off a couple tough pitches, keeps up there, got a breaking ball, and he just lifts it out into left center. Took an excellent throw. And you questioned whether he was safe there. Right on top of it was Brian Gorman, the second base umpire, but I thought the hand got in there ahead of the tag.
I did too. 2 and 3 in the order have been productive for San Diego. They're combined 4 for 4 with a pair of doubles and 2 RBIs. Klesko with a base hit into right field. So Katse was the runner at second, and he scores, and he had to wait a little bit to see if this is going to be caught. Sees it's down, and then he's off to the races. And you go back to the ball game last night, what cost the Cardinals a base running, 2 of them really, 2 errors. One was Scott Rowland getting doubled up at second base, but we haven't really talked about the fact that Pujols was at second and should have scored on a base hit.
And you know, if he would have done that little flip like that, instead of stuttering back and forth, he would have scored.
Maybe we're talking about a Cardinal win. Instead, it was a 3-2 loss, and Rod Beck picked up his 11th consecutive save. He's been perfect. And here's Phil Nevin. Get into a fielder's choice his first time up. He's back in the lineup. First time today. He's in a lot of categories in the record books offensively for San Diego. Good pitch by Tomko.
And you know, coming off that shoulder separation in spring training, an abbreviated rehab assignment, you wonder how that shoulder holds up when you swing hard and miss. You never see Edmonds wince when he makes contact. It's only when you miss.
Fastball misses low and away. Phil Nevin ranks on the franchise's top 10 list in batting average, home runs, RBIs, and slugging percentage. And I thought this was strike 2. Instead, it's a ball, and it's 2-1. The fastball must have missed just a little outside. That one misses for sure. Now, Nevin and Tomko were graduates of the same high school here in California. Tomko was a graduate in '91, and Nevin back in '89.
Sensia, right up around the Anaheim area.
The foul ball, the full count on Phil Nevin, and the runner will be off with this next pitch. That's Klesko at first base.
Cardinals been doing it with 2 outs. What's going to happen with Nevin?
That one is tap foul. Getting a lot of emails about Jason Ryan, pitcher at AAA Memphis, and Tony La Russa telling us before the ball game last night that Ryan is at this point not an option. Now his numbers are pretty good. Leads the club in innings pitched. Very good record. But Tony La Russa at this point saying that the reports are that he's not quite ready, but we'll have to wait and see. As Tomko doesn't get the pitch, looks back in to the home plate umpire. His frustration continues. 2 outs, first and second, and the batter will be Rondell White, who began the second inning with a leadoff triple.
Here, twice his teammates giving him the lead. Really, each inning he's allowed them to get back into the ball game. They've scored in all 3 innings, but 3 consecutive hits and then a walk.
And White, a swing and a miss. He was acquired from the Yankees in exchange for Bubba Trammell and a minor league pitcher. And he's an all-star this season. Back in 1990, first-round draft pick, 24th overall, and very talented when he came up with the Expos, and still is.
Rondell was talking about, we were talking about that play where he had the collision last night, kind of got kicked a little bit in the head, and he said, my body's sore all over. He said, you always lose the ball in the lights here.
Pitch number 26 from Tomko in this inning. This is a stadium that is both football and baseball capable of having a Super Bowl and a World Series game in the same year, and that happened back in 1998. It'll be a baseball only facility next season in downtown San Diego, and this is the 35th year of baseball for the Padres.
You can see how a lot of the seats are designed more for football than the way they're angled. And it'd be nice to go see the baseball only.
A strike on the outside corner. White has been one of the hottest hitters in this lineup. In the month of June, he led their club in home runs and RBIs. And he's got 54 RBIs on the season to go along with 16 home runs. First and second, and a strikeout of Rondell White. But the Padres tie it up on the RBI single by Mark Loretta to bring in Mark Kotsay. It's 3-3. The Aflac trivia question this afternoon. When was the last time the Padres swept a 3-game series against the Cardinals in San Diego? Our Aflac trivia question. They're trying to sweep the Cardinals here in 2003. Score of 3-3 as we head to the top of the 4th.
It didn't happen before '69.
No, we know that. As the Padres were an expansion team along with Montreal added in 1969. There was a sports editor by the name of Jack Murphy who worked at the San Diego Union. He began that crusade to build a stadium that would attract baseball expansion. That's why you had the name Jack Murphy Stadium for all those years. Now Qualcomm.
Until you realize you need to capitalize on every source of income. Naming rights.
So we appreciate it, Jack, but Qualcomm's going to bring us a few more millions. 2-1 the count on Chris Widger, the catcher today. He singled up the middle his first time up.
Well, Danny, I got the question for you. All of a sudden you lose 81 dates. How valuable is the naming rights?
Right.
So don't you get a rebate?
You would think, wouldn't you?
Depends on what's in the language of the contract.
Yeah.
But it makes it interesting.
Does it transfer over to the new stadium? Well, you got Petco Park already.
No, yeah.
Ground ball to short. Easy play for Vasquez. For out number 1. This Monday, the Cardinals and the Pirates will hook up. It's MasterCard Win the Inning Day. All fans will receive a playing card, and if your card gets 3 in a row, you're a winner. Watch each inning to see the plays of the game unfold. Again, that'll be Monday. Busch Stadium, the Cards and the Pirates. 12:40 with the first pitch. STLCardinals.com. 421-2400. And tickets remaining for Friday and Saturday, Sunday and Monday at Busch Stadium. Just a 4-game homestand, then we're back on the road. We'll see Montreal and the New York Mets. Brett Tomko is the hitter. A count of 1 ball and 1 strike.
These pitchers have questioned a couple calls by the home plate umpire, Brian Runge. And Brian is a 3rd-generation umpire. His grandfather umpired in the American League. His father, a longtime National League umpire, and now he's a Major League.
Breaking ball misses low and away. Getting emails about Fernando Vina. We talked about him, that he is in San Diego and visiting with George Paletta, the team physician. And Fernando looks 100% better from the last time we saw him when we were in San Francisco.
Couldn't believe the difference in just the bounce in his step and how he was having trouble walking then. And remember, he was talking about the lifting the weights. Sure. It was about 10 pounds then. Now it's 45 pounds doing some of the exercises. But here to check in with Dr. Paletta and then get a clearance, but probably 3 weeks away at the earliest.
You wonder what happens to Bo Hart as far as Hart remaining as a starter at that time, or does Fernando Vina become the starter when he comes back? Do you ease Vina back into the lineup?
Those things will all be taken care of without our input.
We can always speculate. That's the fun part of baseball.
Sure. But, I mentioned Bo Hart, and we know that he's just done a great job. He's exceeded everyone's expectations offensively and particularly defensively, but now he's 4 for his last 30.
Sticks the bat
31.
out. Oh, nice nifty backhanded play by Mark Loretta. He's shown the leather the last 2 games. A 1-2-3 inning for Brian Lawrence. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Bottom of the order is coming up. The Aflac trivia question this afternoon from San Diego. The last time the Padres swept a 3-game series against the Cardinals here in Southern California back in 1995. A doubleheader on the 12th was mixed in. 1995, the last time that happened. The Cardinals have dominated San Diego since 1999, only losing 5 times to the Padres, and they swept a series earlier this season at Busch Stadium. And the Cardinals trying to avoid the sweep here today. 7 hits aside, a 3-3 game, and 7, 8 in the 9 and 9 in the order coming up for San Diego. The batter is Dave Hansen. Laces this one out to the left fielder Pujols, and Hansen, who struck out, is now 0 for 2. Pujols didn't even have to move, it looked like, on that play.
He might have dropped his leg back.
Maybe a step in. That's good scouting right there.
And a little bit of luck.
Maybe a little bit. The batter will be Miguel Ojeda.
Check out the defense with Ojeda as they got him played to pull.
Ojeda hitting over 300 at home this season. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Our cameraman down there was telling us he has a chance to sneak a peek at that book of Dave Duncan's, and he said, you know what? That's exactly where the chart said to play Dave Hansen. And wouldn't you know it, Albert Pujols is right there and made the play.
You know, Greg's been around here a long time. He used to, remember a few years ago, he used to bring his daughter down, and cute little thing. I said, hey, how old's your daughter now? About 12? He goes, no, 20.
Time's just passing you by, Al. A strikeout for Brett Tomko, number 5 this afternoon, and it brings in the pitcher, Brian Lawrence.
Well, maybe both of them are going to have efficient 1, 2, 3 innings here in the 4th. Both of them allowed 3 runs and 7 hits.
There's Brian Lawrence, the hitter. Hit into a double play to end the bottom of the 2nd. The Cardinals had said last night that Cal Eldred, along with Painter and Simon Tachi, those 3 would not be available last night and probably not available here today either.
I talked to Painter, and Painter said, well, with the off day, you know, I told him I'll be available, but hopefully.
As the pitcher reaches a 2-out hit. Hopefully you don't have to worry about that, and Tomko can get you deep.
Well, that's what you'd like to think, but 72 pitches already thrown here. We're in the 4th inning. Allowed 8 hits, so continues that high hit total. Too many runs.
We're back to the top of the order. Vasquez 0 for 2. He is struck out and grounded out to Bohart at 2nd. A lot of fans are getting home from work, so we'll recap the ball game. The Cardinals jumped out to a 2-0 lead. San Diego tied it up. The Cardinals then 3-2 had the lead, and it's now 3-3. The Padres again tied it up. Martinez and Roland and Renteria have done some damage for St. Louis. Tino's 2 for 2. Roland 2 for 2. Edgar Renteria with a single and an RBI. But 2 and 3 in the order. Kotsay, who's on deck, and then Mark Loretta. They are combined 4 for 4. Loretta with 2 RBIs for San Diego, and Ojeda an RBI base hit back in the 2nd.
And behind the pitcher.
And a pitch up and in. Getting some emails about Mike Shannon, trying to figure out, these fans are saying, where is Mike Shannon? I'm in my car.
He's
tuned into the
San
game,
Diego now,
and I can't find him. Well, Mike has some vacation, so
right,
that's where he was.
He's in San Diego. He'll be going with us up to Napa, Tony's golf tournament.
Pretty well hit left center field. Drew on the run, and he makes the play. So J.D. Drew starting in center field this afternoon. Puts that one away. Drew, Pujols, Martinez coming up. All history brought to you by Schnucks. July 23rd, 1929. National League President John Heidler orders umpires to rub up new balls before each game to remove the gloss. Now here in 2003, it's any kind of foul ball, you get a new baseball. And there's Rick Horton working with Dwayne Hagen and Jim Jackson, the radio engineer and producer up there. And Mike Shannon will be working this weekend back home in St. Louis.
That's right.
But anytime a ball hits the dirt, it's a brand new baseball. And you would figure a pitcher, and sometimes it's the catcher and the pitcher, they just automatically, instinctively give that foul ball back to the umpire, and he throws it out. If I'm a pitcher, I say, well, I want to see that scuff mark.
Yeah. George Will in attendance here. He was a guest of Tony La Russa a couple days ago.
J.D. Drew will lead things off, followed by Pujols and then Martinez. And J.D. pulls it foul. George Will, of course, had that book on baseball, and a segment of that book dedicated to Tony La Russa, following him around when he was with Oakland. Very interesting stuff.
And in some ways, Tony has resented because George Will started calling him the genius. And that label has come with, you know, as much positive as negative. As people that really respect Tony say, you know, he's a genius, and the other ones that are jealous of his success say it in a different frame of mind.
2-2 the count on J.D. Drew. He singled in the third, but then was caught stealing and erased. He's also flied to left. 1 for 2 this afternoon. And a full count on J.D. Drew. Watch out for those bugs in the dugout.
Jurassic Park.
As J.D. breaks his bat, Loretta's there on the outfield grass for out number 1.
Now, the Wild Animal Park isn't too far from here.
San Diego Zoo. You ever been there?
Oh, I've been to both of them.
It's outstanding.
Oh, absolutely. Remember I told you about Brett Butler?
Yeah.
You know, how clubhouse humor can be very nasty and tough on you, as Albert is being universally greeted every time here. Boos. But Brett Butler, when he was a rookie and a very cocky player, when he showed up with the Atlanta Braves, one of his teammates got a note from the San Diego Padres reception that said, Brett Butler, I want you to call the San Diego Union. Mr. Bear wants to do an interview with you.
And he fell for it.
Left a phone number for the San Diego Zoo, and we all couldn't believe he had a half-hour conversation of arguing with the operator at the San Diego Zoo that Mr. Bear wanted to talk to him.
And Pujols strikes out. He's had a tough series in some respects. And today he is 0 for 2.
Locked up inside, and you don't often see that weak of a swing from Mr. Pujols.
So Drew and Pujols have been retired, and here's Tino Martinez with 2 outs and nobody on. Tino is a 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored. Hits it to the second baseman, Loretta. Backhanded play, nice play. And the Cardinals go 1, 2, and 3 here in the top of the 5th. Kotze, Loretta, Klesko due up for the Padres. This afternoon, Bank of America higher standards. Tony La Russa over 1,900 career wins, most by any active manager. 20+ seasons as a skipper of a major league team. Oakland, the White Sox, of course. He started there, and now with St. Louis. He's closing in on 10 years with the Cardinals. That's hard to believe. A 3-3 ball game here in the bottom of the 5th. Kotze, 2 doubles against Brett Tomko. The first was down that right field line and into the Cardinal bullpen, and the other he was hustling out of the box and stretched a single into a double. Hits this one to Bo Hart. And the first time that Kotze has been retired. He's 2 for 3 this week. Fox Saturday Baseball returns when the Yankees invade Fenway to renew their rivalry with the Red Sox as both teams fight for supremacy in the American League East. Or the Cubs will battle the Astros in a showdown of NL Central contenders. It all begins Saturday noon back home in St. Louis, and it's only on Fox. Boston at this point would be the wild card winner in the American League, and they trail the Yankees in the American League East by only 2.5 games. As Loretta looks at a ball, Kansas City leading the Central over Chicago and Minnesota. The Royals are 10 games above the 500 mark. And Oakland only 4 games out now behind Seattle. in the American League West. Anaheim, the world champions, 9.5 games out. Mark Loretta is 2 for 2. Doesn't she trust those young boys to help her out?
Yeah.
They would have caught it. A base hit. Past a diving Scott Rowland. And Loretta will stop at first base. 3 for 3 is Mark Loretta.
I think the Padres, you know, because there was a lot of talk about Loretta going to the Cubs. I think the more the Padres see Mark Loretta, they said, hey, he's too valuable for us.
Yep.
And they wanted to keep him, and rightfully so. See, 450 in his career off of Topco. 3 for 3 today with 2 RBIs.
Lesko is struck out swinging his first time up and then singled in the third. Scott Rowland well off the line at third base. A few steps behind the bag as they play this left-handed batter to pull, both in the outfield and on the infield. And Klesko takes it to the opposite field. Pujols lets it drop in front of him.
Oh, man.
Wow.
He just obviously did not read that off the bat. And just a relatively routine fly ball. And, you know, he didn't react hardly at all. And then he pulls up so soon. But obviously did not see that, because, you know, that's not the typical Albert Pujols effort. That is the 10th hit and also a walk, so 11 base runners, but that time it was not the fault of Tomko.
Here's Phil Nevin, double play candidate. If you're Brett Tomko, you just bow your neck and say, all right, let's go.
Well, that's it, Danny. You've got to. You can't control that. You can control what happens there at the plate.
Into shallow left, and Pujols has that one, and another late break that time by Albert. But he makes the play, and there's 2 outs. That's a key one there, Nevin.
A lot of empty seats, a lot of, you know, see Renteria trying to help him out to say that, hey, it's in the air. So I didn't mind that one, because he got to it plenty of time and makes the play.
The batter will be Rondell White, first and second. 2 outs. He tripled to right and was called out on strikes his last time up. 1 for 2 with a run scored. The pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Tino Martinez well off the line and playing behind that run, of course, at first base. But look how back he is and off that line.
Go hard on the grass, the outfield grass.
And White swung the bat and a count of no balls and 2 strikes.
Off the speed pitch fools him.
They've been able to do that a couple of times against White, bury some breaking balls in the dirt, and he's chased. Cardinals will have Rowland, Renteria, and Robinson once Tomko gets out of this bottom of the 5th. The fastball misses in.
You know, as a pitcher, if somebody makes an error behind you or a play's not made behind you, that's when you really got to show your teammates how tough you are, and really say, hey, that's all right, I know you're trying, I'm going to show you I'm good enough to pitch around it.
Fastball misses in again. 2-2 the count.
The last thing you need to do is start sagging the shoulders, start feeling sorry for yourself, because everyone else is out there, and you don't want them to say, hey, you allowed 10 hits, you walked the guy. You don't look at that.
From 0-2 to a full count. Keep a watchful eye on Tomko and those mannerisms.
Well, and you know, to his credit, it is some, you want to see translations in the win column, but you know, at least he's not blaming others for his his problems. He's saying that it's me that's been bad.
We'll do it again.
That's why he's still in the rotation.
Last time out, a no decision against Los Angeles. His last win, 11-8. He pitched 6 innings in a game at Chicago. The Cardinals won that game. Yeah, the amazing thing is he's still trying to pick up that first victory at Busch Stadium. He's yet to win a game at Busch, whether as an opposing player or as a starter for the Cardinals.
Yeah, 15 starts now, and he's not won at his home stadium, and his ERA is what, half of what it is on the road.
Right.
So he's pitched well, and I mean, and you got to remember there have been times when Tomko's pitched very well, but not gotten anything to show for it.
First and second, 2 outs. There go the runners on this 3-2 pitch, and Rondell White strikes out.
That away.
That is a strikeout number 6 this afternoon for Brett Tomko. Scott Rowland will lead things off when we come back. Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road. And by Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. Our Bud Sports crew nestled inside that truck outside the stadium. They do a great job all season long. Tom Mee, our director, Kent Samuel, our producer, Doug Stanton on graphics, Lindsay Polite, pregame show producer, and Brian McCann in our tape room.
Oh, Sonny?
Talking about Brian McCann.
Yeah, Sonny.
Okay. New nickname is Sonny. I like that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. It's appropriate. Here's Scott Rowland, a count of 1 ball and no strikes.
Our third degree.
Well, our buddy Brian McCann was out in the ocean, decided to do a little surfboarding, and just didn't put any sunscreen on. The next thing he knew, he was burned to the point that he was in the hospital. But everything was okay. Thank goodness, Al. Everything was all right. And he was back at work. He didn't miss a beat.
Back at work yesterday. He was even able to move his shoulders.
Did not miss a beat. He was able to move his shoulders is right. As Rowland reaches, good play there by Dave Hansen. High throw. And Rowland, hustling out of the box, is retired for the first out here in the 6th. First out that Scott has made. He's 2 for 3.
Number 3.
Now you see that Lawrence is starting to get these ground balls, and Hansen, nice play to his left, reaching out there, came up firing. It's a good thing that Klesko has that long arms and reach. So good play at both ends.
The batter is the Cardinals shortstop Edgar Renteria. Some emails asking about Chris Carpenter. He's with us here in San Diego.
He's with us, but saw the surgeon that did the shoulder procedure on him, and still having some discomfort. It's not responding as well as they'd like, so they're going to do another MRI and compare it to the last one, see if there's any structural damage, or try and come up with an alternate plan.
2 guys that have been banged up. Jason Simon-Tachi, a little tendonitis in his arm, and then there's Matt Morris with Chris Carpenter
right there. So 3 guys that are on the shelf, but Simon-Tachi just for a few days.
2-2 the count.
And see what he's doing is Chris Carpenter's giving, probably for the 50th time, telling what the doctor said.
Matt Morris was saying the other day that Tony Gwynn hit a comebacker that hit off the identical spot where he broke his hand. So he is a little familiar with, and he had x-rays and the CAT scan, similar thing, but he was familiar with what they were looking for. They found that broken bone, a swinging bunt, and Renteria is going to reach.
Safe.
He's safe at first and a 1-out hit. Let's see if that gets the Cardinals going. And the pitcher and the catcher here, Ojeda and Lawrence, a little indecisive as to who was going to take this baseball.
Kind of a swinging bunt, and Ojeda comes out here, and he calls off the pitcher. Now the play's in front of him, but he was still, and Lawrence gets out of the way, but it took another step or so for the catcher to get to the ball, and by that time Edgar, running hard down the first base line, is safe.
John Vagan is enjoying the ball game this afternoon back home in St. Louis as Kerry Robinson bunts it foul.
You know, help me with the terminology, but where Morris was hit was on the knuckle, a little bit on the knuckle of the first finger, but it kind of shattered, or a splintering effect up towards the wrist is where he really has the hairline fracture.
Right.
Not at the knuckle, but 2 or 3 inches up towards the wrist is where the hairline fracture is. Kind of a splintering effect.
You would think it's almost on the finger. Instead, it hit near that knuckle on the finger, but the actual bone had a hairline fracture near that wrist area on the back base of your hand.
Yeah, he has a much more extensive splint, but they remove it so they can keep on treating it. And then there you see more of an ace wrap.
Robinson looks at a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. And you wonder about Matt Morris trying to rehab and just get back if the Cardinals are in the race. You know, the minor leagues, you can't do that. Season is all but over with the exception of playoffs and a freeze on those rosters.
Yeah, so you know, I mean, he will have a couple weeks probably to get him. Okay, he was hit about here, but the fracture, it kind of went up the line here, and it's sort of in that area.
Well done. That hairline fracture, and he'll be wearing that for about 3 to 6 weeks.
Sure, the doctor doesn't agree with me, but
you got the message across. We know what you're saying. Robinson slaps it foul. A count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Final season at Qualcomm Stadium for the San Diego Padres. It's a Japanese shortstop that they're looking at. Miguel Tejada will be a free agent. The Oakland A's shortstop, an MVP last year. San Diego is going to be active in free agency this offseason as the runner goes, and Robinson pops it back in foul. They figure they're going to get an influx of money generated because of the new stadium, and they're going to spend some of that money on players. They do have a good nucleus, guys like Klesko and Burrows and Phil Nevin, good young pitching, but they figure to be active too at the trade deadline this season. Bruce Bochy, of course, has been around for a long time, and he wants to see that new stadium and be that manager of the San Diego Padres.
I think he will.
As Robinson chops it to first.
At the plate.
And Robinson, foul ball. Yeah, he was standing at the plate.
Thank you. No way, Kerry.
It didn't seem to be off the bat, did it?
Well, it sounded like a double hit. So here, I don't know if that got his toe or not, but that's what the ruling was.
Yeah.
And you see Kerry didn't really move, so you see he sells it pretty well.
That looked like a ground ball to me.
Well, I mean, he did the right thing because even with his speed, apparently it was going to be a double play, especially when you don't run.
That would help. The 2-2 pitch, and Robinson spoils another 2-strike pitch from Brian Lawrence.
I have a feeling Kerry's going to hit the ball well.
Robinson is lined out to center field and grounded out to the first baseman Klesko.
Maybe he's going to hang around long enough to get a mistake and drive it out into left center.
There goes Renteria, and the pitch is fouled back. Good battle between these two. Of course, Robinson came off the bench on Monday night, had an infield 2-out pinch hit RBI.
Pinch hit, base hit against, wasn't RBI, but base hit against Gagne in L.A.
Had a triple off the bench against San Diego right before the break, late in a ball game, and scored the game-winning run. The 2-2 pitch. Robinson drills it into center field. This could be trouble. Kotze on the run. That's over his head. So you called it, Al. Is Kerry Robinson. It's a ground rule double. And fortunate for San Diego, that ball skipped over the wall.
Bad luck for Kerry, because that would have been an RBI, double or triple. But here he hung around long enough, and ball jumped off his bat, and the ball travels so much better here during the day. You saw Kotze throw up his hands. The pitching coach coming out here, and Linebrink is going to warm up.
The Cardinals have Esteban Yan throwing in the bullpen as we speak. Our What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste, it won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. And game one of that 4-game set at Busch on Friday night will be on Fox Sports Net. The Pirates and the Cardinals. Dan Herron 1-2 coming off his first major league victory over Kevin Brown and the Dodgers on Saturday. Will get to start Friday against Kip Wells, who is 4-4. Woody Williams will go Saturday against Josh Fogg. Widger is 1 for 2. Some key runners on the base pass here as we play with 1 out in the 6th inning. Defense is drawn in on the infield, and Widger takes a strike. Cardinals on the bench today do have Jim Edmonds,
and Esteban Yan is throwing in the bullpen. Matthews has joined Linebrink in the Padres pen.
Tomko is on deck.
But this is the key at bat. Infield in.
The next to Widger. Ground ball up the middle. That's going to score a run. Good play by Lorette on the backhand. Widger picks up the RBI, and the Cardinals have regained the lead. It's now 4-3. Let's see if Tomko is going to hit for himself here in the 6th inning. Chris Widger with his 4th RBI for the St. Louis Cardinals, and it's 4-3 Redbirds.
Good piece of hitting, make contact in there, got the hit down on the ball, got over the head of the mound, and Renteria comes comes home with the go-ahead run. And Palmeiro is going to pinch hit for Tomko.
Well, San Diego was lucky that that ball got over the wall for Kerry Robinson. He would have wound up at third base, and it would have been a chance with the Cardinals to get more than just this one run. Let's see if Palmeiro can deliver with 2 outs. The Cardinals, 3 of the 4 RBIs have been hit with 2 outs. Redbirds have never trailed in this ball game. Led 2-0, then 3-2, and now 4-3. Robinson, the runner at third base, and Palmeiro had a couple of hits against Perez the other night.
Tough lefty last night. Dallas Perez. Orlando. Swinging a hot bat. He has 5 hits in his last 8 at bats, hitting .290 on the year against right-handed pitching. He's a career .295 pinch hitter, and this season 9 for 23. 26, excuse me, 26.
Always makes it a tough at bat off the bench, which is not an easy thing to do. How good was he for the Angels? Well, he was 2nd in Angels history with 42 career pinch hits. Not too shabby.
One, you have to accept the role.
He slaps this one foul and out of play.
Does help to be a contact hitter.
Pitch count for Lawrence is at 106. He is due up 3rd for the Padres in their half of the 6th. Mentioned that Houston will play at Milwaukee tonight. Chicago will play host to Philadelphia. And it stays 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Helps that Orlando primarily hits to the opposite field, so keeps that front shoulder in. And every now and then he'll turn on a ball, and a very inviting right center.
just missed on the outside corner. Count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Times they'll pitch him away and play him that way.
Spray chart for Palmeiro, hits by direction.
Pretty good balance there.
Plenty of room in right center field. He hits it to right field. Get down. It will. It's a 2-out RBI base hit for Palmeiro. He delivers off the bench. Robinson scores the 5th run of the day for the Cardinals. Another 2-out hit for St. Louis.
It's been the story of this game that they have really done the job with clutch hitting. And Bruce Bochy probably going to make a double switch. Call went to the umpire, which gives you the indication now you see Rondell White making his way in, and Linebrink has been called.
So Linebrink, the right-hander, former Astro, will come into the ball game. It's 5-3 in favor of St. Louis. Double switch for San Diego. Gary Matthews Jr. will take over in left field for Rondell White. Mentioned that he was banged up a little bit after that collision with Matthews Jr. last night. So White is out of the game, and this is our call to the bullpen, brought to you by the Renaissance Grand Hotel, the official hotel of the St. Louis Cardinals. Scott Linebrink appearing for the 28th time out of the bullpen for San Diego. I know our Cardinal fans remember him from his days with Houston, and he's been one of the more reliable right-handed relievers for Bruce Bochy out of their bullpen. We're back to the top of the order. It's a strike to Bo Hart, who is 0 for 3, a pair of groundouts, and he was caught looking to start the ball game.
Linebrink was claimed off of waivers from Houston on May 29th.
And Bo slaps this to the opposite field and out of play. Esteban Yan continuing to throw in that Cardinal bullpen. So Topko is done today, and the starter Brian Lawrence goes 5 2/3. 10 hits. He struck out 3 and he walked 1. There's Esteban Yan. Count of no balls and 2 strikes on Bo Hart. Linebrink is set, and the 0-2 pitch. Hart strikes out for the 2nd time today, but the Cardinals pick up 2 more runs. RBIs for Widger and Palmeiro off the bench as Renteria and Robinson score. It's 5-3 Cardinals. Here's the heavy hitter Expedition with $3,000 cash back or 0% financing only at your Quality Ford stores. Your home run to Cardinal baseball fun. Just a gorgeous day in San Diego, and we welcome you back. Esteban Yan is part of our call to the bullpen, brought to you by the Renaissance Grand Hotel. Yan will see 7, 8, and 9 in the order. Remember that San Diego made a double switch, so Gary Matthews Jr. will be due up 3rd in this half of the 6th for San Diego. Little chopper left side, a chance for Scott Rowland. Gloves and throws for out number 1.
Yan is starting to really be worth his weight in gold.
Yes, he is.
Doing a nice job. Went 3 innings on Monday.
Number 20, Miguel Ojeda.
Did 3 innings against San Francisco on June 30th.
We know he can be a power pitcher, has been in his career. Very good stuff, a live arm. He's got 9 strikeouts in his last 10 innings this month.
I think you're starting to see that the more he throws, the more command he has. An idea.
95-mile-an-hour fastball from Esteban Yan. You go back to that Saturday afternoon game against Chicago a few weekends ago at Wrigley Field. It was Esteban Yan at the very end of that ball game on the mound in a key spot, obviously. And at that point, then it starts to give Yan some confidence that Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan have confidence in him.
He's pitched well enough to gain that confidence.
The 2-0 pitch. Pop foul and out of play. 2-1 on Ojeda. The walk-off home run on Monday night off the bat of Ojeda. This afternoon, an RBI base hit to score Rondell White back in the 2nd. He struck out looking in the 4th. We invite your emails. FoxSports.com, keyword Cardinals booth. Try to get to some of those as we progress throughout the afternoon. The 3-1 pitch and a walk. This fall, the NFL returns to Fox as Bill Parcells comes to Dallas to return the Cowboys to glory. Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb will battle for the title of best quarterback in the league. The biggest stories in the NFL are in the NFC, and the NFC is only on Fox. Returning September 7th, the NFL on Fox. This training camp getting set to get going for the St. Louis Rams, and of course we'll have all the coverage on the Midwest Sports Report. We'll have a report following the game here today. Dave Duncan will talk it over with Esteban Yan. Steve Klein, yes, he's still with the Cardinals, and he's warming up in the bullpen.
Well, he didn't get up until Dave Duncan was walking out of the dugout, so we'll stall long enough for him to get ready.
A lot of talk, and there were published reports that Steve Klein was going to be a Yankee for Sterling Hitchcock, but yesterday the Yankees acquired Jesse Orosco at the age of what, 46?
46. I talked to a Yankee scout. He said that Orosco was their second choice, and I'm sure one of their factors was they couldn't get the Yankees to pay enough of Sterling Hitchcock's salary.
I don't know how you feel about this, but if you're going to go for it this year, Steve Klein's got to be an important part of that in the bullpen too.
Well, I agree with that, but you need starting pitching, and that's what Hitchcock would do for the Cardinals, and that's why the Yankees want to get rid of him, because he's in their bullpen. He's not a bullpen guy.
You look at the bullpen situation with the Cardinals. Jeff Fassero makes a start the other night, so that's one of your lefties down. Lance Painter is unavailable here today, and Painter at times has been banged up, which would leave you with no lefties out there if Steve Klein was shipped away. That's why he could be valuable down the stretch. And he has been pitching much better as of late, in particular to left-handed batters.
Well, that's one of the reasons why it's unfair that names get thrown about.
Sure.
Unsettling, and
the 2-1 pitch. The switch hitter doesn't chase, and now it's 3-1. There's Gary Matthews Jr. His father, the Sarge, played 16 seasons in the major leagues.
hitting coach now with the Cubs.
Fastball in there, and a full count. The switch hitting Gary Matthews Jr. He played left field, right field, played center last night, started the ball game in center.
He's returned to the organization who originally drafted him, and they'll play behind the runner.
And Matthews Jr. gets into this one deep right field. Robinson is back at the wall, and he's got it. Ojeda back to first base, and a good play by Kerry Robinson.
And Tony La Russa, after seeing that line drive, immediately goes to the bullpen.
And this is our Pennzoil protection play of the game. We're driving protection. Kerry Robinson, a nice play in right center field.
Goes back on this ball and thought he was going to have to jump. Didn't really need to, but
so Esteban Yan, 2/3 of an inning. Steve Klein will into the ball game. It's 5-3 in the bottom of the 6th. On Thursday, August 21st, the Cardinals play the Pirates. It's AMC Theaters action photo night. All fans ages 15 and under with a paid admission receive an 8x10 action photo of shortstop Edgar Renteria and a coupon for free popcorn at AMC Theaters. That'll be Thursday, August 21st. The Cards and the Pirates, 421-2400, or log on to STLCardinals.com. for ticket information. Steve Klein will be the new pitcher for the Cardinals, the third pitcher today. It's been Tomko, Esteban Yan, and now Steve Klein. And Klein has limited opposing left-handed batters to a .224 batting average and no home runs allowed.
Widger is on the disabled list after he had that throwing incident where he banged his thumb on a helmet. So get a little re-tape job on that thumb to get a little more stability. Steve Klein's ERA has been on the decline.
Facing this left-hander, Vasquez. Tony La Russa, Dave Duncan wasting no time with this lefty-lefty matchup. Then you have Kotze, who's on deck, who hits from the left side. Vasquez 0 for 3, the leadoff man. A foul tip. 1 ball and 1 strike. He is struck out. Grounded to second and also fly to center as Ramon Vasquez, the shortstop and leadoff man in this lineup. Ojeda, the catcher, is the runner at first. The ball in the dirt. Cardinals will have J.D. Drew, Albert Pujols, and Tino Martinez in the top of the 7th. As Klein tries to get out of the 6th. Cardinals with RBIs today from Roland, Renteria, Widger, and Orlando Palmeiro last inning off the bench.
Steve trying to get the feel back on his slider, his bread and butter pitch. Didn't like his fastball today. Going to throw one here away. Didn't want one in.
And a ground ball to Bo Hart. Gobbles it up over to Tino, and Klein and the Cardinals get out of the bottom of the 6th. Congratulations to Martha Kottner, today's merchandise prize winner, the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Martha will qualify for the grand prize drawing of a Hyundai Elantra GT at the end of the season. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer to complete an entry form. We're at Qualcomm Stadium in beautiful San Diego, California. The Cardinals wrapping up a 7-game West Coast swing, 4 against the Dodgers, in which they split 2 apiece, and then against San Diego, trying to avoid the sweep. The Cardinals lead it 5-3. Top of the 7th, J.D. Drew has a base hit, but then was caught stealing. He's lined out, broke his bat his last time up, and he's also flied to left. He lines this one to the shortstop, Vasquez. 1 pitch and 1 out. Well, tonight is the 2nd anniversary of the Best Damn Sports Show period. To kick things off, they will welcome NBA legend Magic Johnson as he talks about the Lakers' free agent signings. Also, news anchor Bill O'Reilly. And the sexy Leanne Tweeden heads overseas to check in with our troops. It's the Best Damn Sports Show period. Albert Pujols with a base hit up the middle. 2 hard hit balls to start this 7th inning for the Cards. Against the right-hander Linebrink. Get the final out in the top of the 6th, a strikeout of Bo Hart. A line out by J.D. Drew. Base hit by Pujols, his first hit. 2nd time he's been on base to go along with a walk. And here's Tino Martinez, who is 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored.
Pujols extends his hitting streak to 8 games. Tino's had a good day, 2 for 3, 2 runs scored.
Tino had a scorching base hit up the middle, and it was an error on the center fielder Kotze that allowed Pujols to score all the way from first. Hit off his leg, got away, and Pujols scored the first run of the ballgame. That's the situation here. He's the runner at first base, and the 1-0 pitch. Martinez breaks his bat over Loretta and into right center field. Pujols is thinking about third base. The throw from Kotze is not in time. A slide to the outside portion of the bag, and Pujols is in there as that throw is a little bit toward the inside portion. And Albert is hobbling a bit, but he seems to be okay. Aggressive base running, and it pays off.
Aggressive base running, but
The third baseman.
a little bit lucky too. You know, waits, sees it gets over the head and keeps on looking back, and that slows him down. A good thing the throw was offline, or he would have been thrown out. But I am a firm believer that you press the issue and you make the defense make plays, because more times than not they will not.
First and third, here's Scott Rowland. Rowland with a pair of hits and an RBI, his 67th RBI this season. And a high fly ball into right field. Nevin is out there. Pujols will tag up from third base and score easily. Martinez tagging up. He's safe at second base. That's heads-up play right there.
Tino just chugging along, but he gets safe there, and another RBI for Rowland. That's 2 and 68 on the year. And cut it off, which was the right thing to do. But the throw was a little bit offline, and Martinez gets himself in scoring position.
The Cardinals have had a number of 2-out RBIs in this ball game today. Renteria would like to add another. He's got 2 hits, an RBI and a run scored.
His RBI came with 2 outs.
That one is fouled back and into the seats here at Qualcomm Stadium. Our final visit to this ballpark, our final look at San Diego this year.
Edgar leads the ball club in 2-out RBIs. And an opportunity to do it again.
No balls and a strike on Renteria. Martinez the runner at second. The fastball misses low and away. Edgar grounded out to short his first time up. RBI base hit to bring in Tino Martinez in the third. And then singled and scored on the RBI by Widger. And made it a 4-3 St. Louis lead.
Seen them play much deeper in this series. The right and left fielders. The tendency here may be the fact that during the day games the ball carries much better, and think that a ball over their head is going to leave the ballpark.
The 3-1. Edgar shoots this one into deep center field. Kotze on the run. That's in there for a base hit. Another 2-out RBI for the Cardinals shortstop to extend this lead as Martinez scores. A double for Edgar Renteria, and it's 7-3.
Well, if they were thinking they could play a little more shallow because the ball's not going to go over their head, they're wrong. But Kotze plays a little more shallow to begin with. And that ball is just too much in the gap for him to close the gap and make that catch.
How about the 2-out RBIs today? Edgar with a pair, Cardinals with 4. They lead at 7-3.
Frequently look back and say timely hitting is why you lost. It'll be the reason the Cardinal win today.
Up and down this lineup, from Pujols on, with the exception of Bo Hart and J.D. Drew, it's either an RBI or a run scored with this lineup. That includes Kerry Robinson, doubled and scored, and really had a good at bat his last time up. Worked the count, fouled off a bunch of pitches, and then eventually got a pitch to drive, and he put it over Kotze's head in center. Cardinals today came to an agreement. They agreed to terms with their number 2 draft pick, Stuart Pomeranz, a 6'7", 220-pounder from Houston High School in Germantown, Tennessee. He was 13-1 this last season, so the Cardinals have signed pretty much their top in picks. And we'll take a look at the number that they have signed
I
here.
think all their top 11 picks they've signed, and 31 of 47 overall.
Yeah. Robinson with a base hit. Renteria will be stopped at third base as the throw comes in. Carey hustling all the way down to second base. Heads up play there. I'll tell you what, aggressive base running in this inning by Pujols, then Tina Martinez tagging up from first to second, and that was a heads up play there by Carey Robinson.
Well, absolutely it is, and that's what Terry has to do to get more playing time. He's got to play smart, and he's got to utilize his greatest asset, and that is his speed. So Carey slapping the ball that way. He sees he's got a single. When he sees the throw coming home, he knows he could get him scoring position himself. And now they'll intentionally pass Widger. You gonna let Steve Klein hit for himself?
Well, you do have a guy named Edmonds sitting on the bench.
Well, sure you do.
And a chance to bust this game wide open, but
and Lance Painter is throwing. He is available.
And I think if you're Tony La Russa, it's a tough decision because you've got Kotsay, Loretta, and Klesko due up, so 2 of the 3 are left-handed bats.
Well, it doesn't look like they're going to use Jim Edmonds, and Steve Klein is preparing for battle. One of these memorable at-bats.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinal Baseball is a production of Bud Sports and an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net. I agree with this move. I would like to see them pinch hit for Steve Klein.
Now they are, because Perez is swinging the bat. I mean, what I didn't see from Jim Edmonds, I don't think he has a jersey underneath that windbreaker. So Tony La Russa, he stalled long enough, give a few more extra pitches to Painter.
Painter, of course, took the loss the other night, giving up the game-winning home run
on his birthday.
So here is Eduardo Perez as Painter continues to loosen up in the bullpen. Perez had the bases loaded situation last night and nobody out in the 8th and lined it to the second baseman Loretta. Then Rolen was doubled up. He was the runner at second, and that cost the Cardinals.
Now here's a good dig job by the veteran, allowing Painter some more time to warm up.
Off the bench, Paul Merrow has already contributed with an RBI base hit. And here's Perez. Eduardo rips it and just foul. Wow.
And look out, young lady. Ball girl tried to get in the way of that line drive. Charging those line drives can be dangerous. This is how you can extend the inning too. But watch the young lady try to field this ball, and whoops.
I don't know about you, but watching Perez, you just see the confidence now that he exudes inside the box. Hits for power as compared to the first 2 months of last season, where it was a struggle just to make contact. Now he's been one of your most valuable assets off the bench.
Maybe what you said something there when you said contact, as in contact lenses.
Right. Eduardo pulls it again, and a foul ball off of Scott Linebrink.
He had the LASIK procedure and kind of went back to the contacts and started hitting.
Cardinals with 4 hits in the inning. The bases are loaded, and a 7-3 St. Louis lead. And the 1-2 pitch is popped up behind home plate. We'll do it again. Of course, Perez had a 2-run home run in Sunday night's win against Los Angeles. 1-2 the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Renteria, the runner at third base. Robinson at second. The intentional pass to Chris Widger. He stands at first. Bases are loaded. The 2-2 pitch. And Perez fouls it back again. Identical spot for those fans behind home plate. So Edgar Renteria with the RBI double with 2 outs. Robinson extended it with a base hit to the opposite field. Widger, the intentional pass. Bases loaded. The 2-2 pitch.
Fans having a little fun.
The next 2, Eduardo Perez. And he went around and a strikeout. Tino Martinez, his 3rd hit in this inning. Edgar Renteria, his 3rd hit as well, an RBI double. He's got 2 on the day. It's 7-3. This portion of Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with lower fares. By Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles. And by Hardee's, try Hardee's new charbroiled thick burgers, 1/3, 1/2, and 2/3 pound burgers made with Angus beef. San Diego, California, and the Cardinals lead it by the score of 7-3, trying to avoid the sweep. The Cardinals have lost just 5 times against the Padres since 1999. And Lance Painter is called upon, the 4th pitcher used by the Cardinals. This will be his 19th appearance on the season. Opponents hitting .233 against him. And Al, he's been banged up a little bit, but this team has been banged up. So Painter giving it a go at the off day tomorrow. You've got to face 2 lefties in this inning, Kotsay and Klesko. Mark Kotsay will lead it off at 7-3 Redbirds.
Lance Painter took the loss on the first game of the series, allowing the Ojeda hit the home run in extra innings. So he's more than happy to come back out here and atone for it. His little tenderness is probably quite understandable, missing all last year with the Tommy John surgery, having a great spring, and then ripping a muscle off the bone on his hamstring, and on the disabled list for extended period of time, and then now coming back, it's and pitching so frequently, it does take a little toll.
Yep. The 2-1 pitch was just outside. 4-run lead in the 7th. You don't want to walk anybody. Kotsay, 2 runs scored. He's 2 for 3 with a pair of doubles. The Padres center fielder, former Florida Marlin. That's in there for a strike. 89 on the gun. Mark Loretta waiting on deck. He's had a big day with 2 RBIs. Painter comes back and gets Kotsay. As Bo Hart throws over to Tino Martinez for the first out to start the 7th. Our Bank of America higher standards, none better maybe than this guy. Tony Gwynn, 3,000 plus hits, .338 career hitter. Over 300 so many times in his career. 8-time batting champ Tony Gwynn, our Bank of America higher standards. He is the head baseball coach at San Diego State. And you'll see him at the ballpark every once in a while. We've seen him in St. Louis. And with 1 out, the batter is Mark Loretta. 3 for 3 on the day.
I remember talking with Tony last year, and I said, even since you have come into the game, the players and the game has changed quite a bit. And he said, why do you think I've gone to the college ranks?
We talked about that in our pregame show feature the other night. Didn't even consider being a batting coach or a manager at the professional level. Wanted more control at the college level, and that's what he's got. San Diego native, played basketball and of course baseball in college. 2 balls and a strike on Loretta. second baseman for the Padres, a number of years with Milwaukee. Houston, of course, is playing at Milwaukee tonight. Chicago playing host to the Philadelphia Phillies. Roy Oswalt going in that game for the Astros. And that is a Milwaukee native on the mound, Lance Painter. Woodger boxes out a bit, and it's a full count. Roy Halladay will go for his 15th straight win tonight. The Blue Jays host Mark Burley, St. Louisan, and the White Sox. Bedford, England, by the way, is where Lance Painter is originally from. He was born there. And the 3-2 pitch. Loretta swung at ball 4. Chance for rolling. And there's 2 outs. And with 2 outs, the batter will be Ryan Klesko.
And one of the neat things about pitching is to find out when you're not 100%, you can still get out good major league hitters. And it gives you that confidence to know that you don't have to feel 100% whenever you take them out.
Yep. That's what we've got here with Lance Painter.
And he knows that there's an off day, so he told his skipper that, you know, if you need me, I'm available.
And Klesko hits it sharply to Tina Martinez, and we are through 7. We'll be back to the top of the order when we come back for St. Louis at 7-3. To Cardinal baseball fun. We're back to the top of the order. Bo Hart with a base hit. Past a diving Dave Hansen, and Hart reaches for the first time. 1 for 5 in the ball game. So we welcome you back to San Diego. It's 7-3 Cardinals here in the top of the 8th, and the batter will be J.D. Drew.
Bo goes up here, and he going hacking and hit the ball very sharply. Dave Hansen playing third today, went off his glove for, as you said, his first hit. Was robbed one time by Loretta also.
Drew is lined out a couple of times. He's also singled, was caught stealing, and fly to left. Fastball from Linebrink in there, working in his 3rd inning. First man that Linebrink saw was Bo Hart, and he was the final out in the 6th. Had a rough 7th inning and is greeted in the 8th with a base hit.
I was lucky that line drive JD hit to lead off the 7th was caught.
Just hit right to the shortstop Vasquez. Albert Pujols is waiting on deck. J.D. Drew playing center field with Edmonds on the bench, nursing that sore right shoulder. The 1-1 pitch. J.D. rips it and foul. He jumped on that pitch and turned on it.
Well, once again, as you see, these balls are not inside or enough to scare anybody. These guys are taking pretty vicious swings.
Bo Hart, the runner at first base. 1-2 on J.D. Drew.
Talk to any old timer and you say, how would you hit if you knew nobody was going to throw inside at you? And their eyes just light up.
I can imagine the strikeout of Drew, and that is the 3rd strikeout for Linebrink. If you'd like to win Cardinals tickets and participate in the Southwest Airlines Family of the Game promotion during a Cardinals home game, here's your chance. Send your name, address, and phone number to Southwest Airlines Family of the Game, P.O. Box 771192, St. Louis, Missouri 63177. Good luck from Southwest Airlines. Albert Pujols has scored a pair of runs. He has walked and singled in the ball game. He also struck out and flied to right. And with 1 out, it's a ball in the dirt. Cardinal fans, of course, getting their final looks at this stadium, Qualcomm Stadium. He's got a Pujols jersey on. His favorite man is at the dish. Pujols leading in average, 2nd in home runs, tied with Edmonds, and 2nd, only 2 behind Preston Wilson in the RBI department. And he rips this one into left center field. Might be edging closer to Preston Wilson. Bohart being waved home all the way from first base. He is safe at the plate. Good speed by Bohart, scoring all the way from first. And Albert Pujols has RBI number 92. And it's 8-3 Cardinals.
This ball was just scorched out there in the left center and gets out there in a hurry, one-hopping the wall, and Bohart was off to the races. He made a lot of distance. And look at that good hustling play. Linebrink is through.
Linebrink allowed 4 hits last inning and is greeted with back-to-back hits to start the top of the 8th. So he is done. He was in relief of Lawrence, so we'll see a third pitcher used by Bruce Bochy and the Padres. Cardinals lead at 8-3. Jared Wright, remember all the promise and the future for this young man. He was with Cleveland at the time. Right-hander for San Diego, now working out of the bullpen, and he almost single-handedly took the Indians to the World Series a few years ago. Brian Buchanan will take over in left field, and Gary Matthews Jr. moves from left to center. And the hitter is Tino Martinez. The Cardinals with a 5-run lead. Pujols the runner at second base. Cardinals with 16 hits, and there's nobody out in the top of the 8th.
Couldn't hold up, went around on that one. Opponents are batting .357 off of Jared. 27 years of age, so he's had some arm problems, but get him through this year, you'd probably be okay.
Martinez pops it up. Foul territory. And the third baseman takes it. Dave Hansen. Keep cool as the season heats up this summer. Sport your summer threads. Get your MLB authentic caps, jerseys, t-shirts, and more at STLCardinals.com. The STLCardinals.com shop for all things baseball. Look at Bohart's slide, the 8th run for the Cards today. Here's Scott Rowland. He's had a big afternoon.
Two for 3, 2 RBIs. He also had a sacrifice fly.
Rowland with 68 RBIs. Pujols, runner at second, with 2 outs. Rowland single to left, single to center, grounded out to third, and a sacrifice fly to right field. That brought in Albert Pujols, who has scored 2 runs today to go along with his RBI. Good pitch. See, he's got some pretty good stuff.
Yeah. You know, probably just trying to get everything back in a groove. But you're right. When he came up to Cleveland there, he was a great story. His dad was a successful major league pitcher.
One and one the count on Scott Rowland. White Sox have taken a 3-0 lead on Toronto and Roy Halladay. Just missed on the outside corner. Cincinnati leading their ball game with Pittsburgh early on, 3-0. Houston and Milwaukee just about set to get going.
.1970. Clyde Wright, Jared's father, was 22-12 with a 2.83 ERA and 39 starts. An American League All-Star. That's it, got away from him. Pass ball.
The count is 2-2. He's got a live fastball. That one registered at 97.
Yeah, and watch the third base umpire. He was trying to make sure it wasn't a foul ball, and Pujols was entitled to third base. Swings at it, but no contact was made, and it gets away from Ojeda. Grabbing his fingers.
2-2 the count on Scott Rowland. Look at that, 97 again.
Tough, big, strong kid. Like a tree trunk.
Rowland draws the walk. So it'll be first and third with Pujols the runner at third, Rowland at first. And this guy is delivered again tonight with 2 out RBIs. He's done it twice, and you know these two have hooked up before, Renteria and Wright, in the World Series in '97.
Jarrett was 8-3 with 16 starts for Cleveland that year. That's when he first came to the big leagues. Started that year at Double-A and then went to Triple-A and on to the big leagues in the World Series.
And this is a foul ball.
Renteria's foot. It's got a shin guard there to begin with, but still it doesn't provide enough padding.
This afternoon, game number 101 already for the St. Louis Cardinals. See what he's done with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That's the case here with the Pujols, the runner at third base. Scott Rowland, the runner at first. Cardinals trying to avoid this sweep today. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Wright was quarterback and linebacker for Catella High School in Anaheim, California.
Renteria today an RBI single, an RBI double, both coming with 2 outs, and singled and scored in the 6th as well. 3 hits. See the catcher Ojeda trying to elevate that pitch, call for it up.
I see where we're talking about the outfielders. Buchanan had just come into this game. He plays deep, but Matthews moved from left to center. He's still playing shallow.
One ball, 2 strikes. Trade deadline a few years ago, and Renteria was hearing his name around this time, about 3 seasons ago. And once he was not traded, he relaxed and became a different player.
The best all-around shortstop in the National League.
2-2 the count.
That ball almost got away from Ojeda also.
Padres in the 8th inning will have Nevin, Buchanan, and Dave Hansen.
This kid's ready to play right now. Hey, come on, give me a uniform. I want to go.
The 2-2 pitch. Edgar, high fly ball into right field. Nevin near the line and makes the play. Right by the Cardinal bullpen. Albert Pujols with an RBI double. It's 8-3 St. Louis. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net was brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Cardinals trying to avoid the sweep against San Diego. Cal Eldred. We thought that he might be unavailable today, but that's not the case. Lance Painter, a scoreless frame in the 7th. Steve Klein, a 1/3 of an inning. Esteban Yan, 2/3 of an inning. And Brett Tomko went 5 and allowed 10 hits. But he did strike out 6. And now it's Cal Eldred's turn here in the 8th. Phil Nevin, Buchanan, and Hansen for the Padres in their half of this 8th inning. It's 8-3 Cardinals. They about hit San Diego 16-10. Bill Nevin is returned to the lineup today. He's hit into a fielder's choice, walked, and also flied out to left field. First pitch, a strike. The second one, a ground ball up the middle, and Phil Nevin, his first base hit.
First hit of 2003, 3-time Padre MVP. Been on the disabled list since a shoulder injury in spring training. And gets a breaking ball, bounced right back over the mound and through.
The shadows making their way onto the playing surface. Brian Buchanan will be the hitter. First plate appearance. He can play the outfield, also plays first base. Originally a first-round draft pick of the New York Yankees, was sent to the Twins as part of the Chuck Knobloch trade of 1998.
You know, the Yankees do a great job of selling their minor leaguers, making everyone think that they're going to be instant stars. And you know, Cardinals have taken a lot of criticism of late, and a lot of people erroneously think they've traded away our top minor league prospects. Tell me who we've traded, who you'd want on this ball club right now.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I mean, and you know, Kennedy's a nice player, but I mean, he's not, you know, a franchise guy.
Edmonds is a franchise player.
Right? Looper is a guy that you would like to have.
Double play opportunity here. Hard double clutch, but they still turn the double play.
Well, some people talked about, as you see, Renteria gets it to Hart. There's probably the weakest part of his game at second base, turning the double play, but it's something he's been willing to work at, and his defense has been exceptional and much better than advertised, and even has opened the eyes of the coaching staff.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about it, so many of the trades that we made, none of those minor leaguers have done anything. Remember, Butler was supposed to be a top-notch guy. He's a fringe player. Osuna, a lot of people said you can't give up Osuna, and we found out he's older than Renteria.
Yeah.
And still hasn't, been able to stay in the big leagues, and we got a star in that deal. And Looper also was involved in that deal. Jimenez, you liked him, but we got Kyle, we got Beers, we got Happ. They've done a great job of helping and winning at the major league club. And it's like now, you wouldn't trade a Molina. There's 2 or 3 pitchers you wouldn't trade. Aaron being one of them, who we're going to see Friday night. Tony going to the phone, and they may get Izzy up early.
2 outs, and the batter after that single from Hanson is Ojeda. Good fastball from Cal Eldred, 0-2. A little pop on it today.
A couple days off will do that for you, and especially when you know you don't have to. You got an off day tomorrow. You don't have to hold anything back. And I think that the more he throws out of the bullpen, the more he's getting better arm strength.
And the fastball missing low and in.
All right, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Which Woodger going to put down? He wants the curveball, throw a fastball in. And it's out over the plate.
One and 2 the count.
Curveball and keep it down. Not that far, but nice job by Widger. He pointed down, so I threw it there. And yes, he did. It's the kind you really get worried about it, come up and catch you in the Adam's apple. That's why they have that little extension at the bottom of the face mask around the chin area.
Ojeda chases that one. Eldred a strikeout. So a double play and then the strikeout. Ninth inning coming up from San Diego. The ninth, and it's 8-3 Cardinals. Last sweep by San Diego over St. Louis. You have to go back to 1995. The Cardinals trying to avoid that here today. Gary Robinson will lead it off for the Cardinals. A pair of hits against Jarrett Wright. His second inning of work. Redbirds with a 5-run lead. Al, after the first out, we're going to check in with Brent Stover.
Oh, man, that's great.
Midwest Sports Report is coming up. Robinson with a double and a run scored back in the 6th, and a single into 7th. That was done off a line break.
Average of 231 now for Carey. And not long ago he was under 200. So on the rise.
He chops this one towards the middle. This will be a tough play. Quick throw and a high throw. And Robinson 3 hits on the day.
That's how he has to hit the ball, is right. Get down on the ball, utilize that speed. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense. They'll throw a bunch of balls away, rushing and knowing that they've got to get there quickly. And there you see the high throw, and Lesko goes up, but his hustle gets him another base hit all the way.
That average is on the rise. It took 4 seconds, according to our guys in the truck, for Robinson to reach first base. And here's Chris Widger.
4 seconds is slow for Carey.
Yes, it is. Widger with an RBI and a base hit back in the 2nd. He fouls this one back. 95 on the gun from Jarrett Wright. Cardinals have lost Matt Morris for 3 to 6 weeks. And the disappointing part about that, not just the fact that you lose him, but his mannerisms and the reports from Mike Matheny that night and the home plate umpire. They said, hey, Matt Morris was throwing hard, even though it was early, but you could tell he had a little bit of that swagger back.
Had the life to his pitches.
It's out number 1 here in the top of the 9th. Here's Matt Morris. Let's check in with our buddy Brent Stover for Midwest Sports Report update.
Coming up after the game on Hyundai Midwest Sports tonight, Kevin Slayton joins us to take your phone calls at 1-888-RING-FOX. Plus, the Rams report to camp. That and more after the game. Now back to Dana now.
Wilson Delgado will be the pinch hitter for Cal Eldred. Off the bench today, the Cardinals have used Paul Merrow. He picked up a 2-out RBI hit in the 6th. And now it's Wilson Delgado hitting just 173. And this is popped up into shallow left. Buchanan is there. 2 outs.
You know, Mike Crudell is warming up. And I almost wonder if Tony called down and asked if Isringhausen wanted to throw at the inning. It's not a save situation, but he hadn't pitched since Sunday. And, you know, in order to keep him sharp, you could see that they've asked him to pitch this game today and with an off day tomorrow.
Right. Here's Bullhart. Scored a run on the double by Pujols. Scored all the way from first base in the 8th inning.
Just looking at something about Jarrett Wright. He is one of only 7 active pitchers to have started at Game 7 of the World Series. Now those are Levon Hernandez, John Lackey, Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, Al Leiter, and John Smoltz. And he was in line for that victory in Game 7. He gave up only 2 hits on 6 1/3 innings until the Marlins rallied in the 9th. And then the winning run scored on a Renteria base hit in the 11th. Greg Counsell.
Right. The Council's been a part of 2 great Game 7s in recent memory. Arizona and the Yankees, and then that one. The 1-2 pitch to Bohart. And he blew it by him. Bottom of the 9th coming up, and the Cardinals looking for a victory to snap this 2-game losing streak. It's 8-3. Crudell into the ball game for St. Louis, a non-save situation. Bottom of the 9th, and the Cardinals leading this one by 5 runs. Appearing for the 12th time this season. Crudell has been up and down, and this will be his 2nd appearance in this series.
Mike did such a great job last season, and disappointing year for him this year. Recalled yesterday from Memphis, where he was 4-3 with a 5.32 ERA in 23 games, 22 innings. He appeared in 10 games with St. Louis earlier, May 2nd to June the 3rd. And last year, 49 games. He ranked 4th among National League relievers in minimum of 50 innings with a 1.94 or 9.5 ERA, and he had good command. You know, he struck out 47 and walked just 14 in 52 and 2/3 innings.
Would be nice down the stretch to be able to rely upon him and get him straightened out.
And he'd definitely be a shot in the arm.
Matthews Jr., the leadoff man for the Padres, and it's 2-0. Walks a problem for Crudell, and pitches up in the zone, something that he did not do on both accounts last season.
Right, he controlled the strike zone.
The 2-0 pitch. That's in there for a strike. Took a little off it. Gary Matthews Jr. came off the bench today, and he flied to right his first time up.
You know, mechanics and rhythm are so important and so easily to get out of whack. When he jumps at hitters, makes him a little bit deceptive, but when you jump at hitters too, you know, you can get out in front and lose your release point.
3-1 pitch and a leadoff walk. A leadoff walk to start the bottom of the 9th, and we go back to the top of the order, and Ramon Vasquez, the shortstop. Vasquez has struck out, grounded to second, fly to center, and grounded to second. 0 for 4 and hitting .275. Scott Rowland plays a couple of steps in at third base, and the pitch is a ball in. Now time is called by Widger to talk it over with Crudell, who's struggling to find the strike zone. Midwest Sports Report is coming up after the game.
And that's one thing that's, you know, you put in this situation, you have to throw strikes. Cardinals 17 hits in the night. They've left 11 stranded, but they scored 8 runs. They've given up 12 hits.
Brett Tomko lasted 5 innings in the ball game, today's starter. 10 hits. He struck out 6. Cardinals have used Yan, Klein, Painter, and Eldred. That one is to the backstop. 2 balls and a strike.
Dave Duncan will, you know, work so well with Crudell, and I'm sure he'll get him back on track. But this is what the reason why we haven't seen him before. He's just so inconsistent, and at least that one, it wasn't up in the zone. But it's not what you want to see a guy come out and how you want him to close out the 9th inning with a 5-run lead. And all of a sudden,
this should be out number 1. Martinez a flip to Crudell. Matthews Jr. will move up on the play. We turn to today's play of the game, and we talk a lot about Edgar Renteria and the 2-out hits. It's brought to you by Budweiser, and he delivered twice with 2-out RBI hits. And this one, a double over the head of Kotze in center. And that would score Tina Martinez. That would be the 7th run in the ball game. The Cardinals would add another. It is our Budweiser play of the game.
John Burrows pinch hitting.
Hitting new .292 on the season.
Just 1 for 17 on this homestand after swinging a very hot bat.
And he's jammed on that pitch.
And good pitch, right in on his hands.
1 ball and 1 strike.
Mike Crudell, he throws it in there on him, ties him up.
Burrows has moved off the plate a little bit, widened his stance, trying to get more of a power base. 2 balls and a strike. Matthews Jr., the runner at third. Cardinals will head back home tonight, off day tomorrow, and then take on the Pirates Friday night, 6:30 with our pregame show. And good seats still remaining for Cap Night. That's pulled just foul. 2-2. Burrow's dad, a former #1 pick back in 1969.
Remember when Jeff Burrows, Sean's dad, coached him in the Little League World Series.
Right. Sean would talk about being a young guy and being kind of pudgy, but always being able to hit the baseball, and now he's a big, strapping guy, young player here in the major leagues.
You know, a lot of those guys, and I think he was the case, you know, that he wasn't much smaller than he is now when he was like 12.
Right. Foul back again. It's 2-2.
It's listed as 6'2", 200, and it seemed like he was probably 5'11", 160 or something like that at about age 12, and that
Right.
much bigger than everybody else. And then some of the guys equal him or pass him up inside. Dale's throwing strikes now. They keep on working in on him.
Another one is fouled back. Loretta is waiting on deck. The 2-2 and a full count. The Cardinals hold on. It'll be win number 52. And a walk to Burrows. He wins the battle.
At least he put up a fight, but Tony would tell you, and Dave Duncan's going to go out and tell it to him, relay it for him, that you know, we'd rather have him hit a 2-run home run than you walk him. And they're going to get Izzy up now. But, you know, if you get him up, you want to bring him in, but you know, they're going to work it into a save situation.
So first and third, and one out. Jarvis will be the pinch runner for Burrows. Kevin Jarvis.
So obviously it's more than just a shoulder with Sean Burrows.
Yep.
Put a pitcher out to pinch run for you.
And here's Loretta. 3 for 4 on the day. First and third, 1 out. Lesko is on deck. Loretta swings and hits it to short. Force play to Bohart. Can they turn 2? He is safe at first, and the run will score. Exchange that run for the out. There's 2 outs here in the 9th inning, and it's an 8-4 ball game.
Third RBI for Loretta.
And the batter will be Klesko.
Matthews comes home here. And then he almost steps on the bat for a little stutter step. Look at our dance routine.
Klesko pops it up and foul. Hope you stick around for the Midwest Sports Report. All the news with the Rams. Post-game wrap-up here from San Diego. That guy's upset, man. He almost had that foul ball.
Oh, man. We saw him earlier take a picture of Pujols, but he almost got a foul ball. They're ready, though, aren't they?
And the guys in the studio for Midwest Sports Tonight are also ready.
Sure.
The Midwest Sports Report is coming up at 10. Midwest Sports Tonight is coming up after the game.
Oh.
Technicality I was called on there. Midwest Sports Report is nightly at 10, Al.
Yes.
Midwest Sports Tonight is the early show.
The Tonight Show.
Right. That would be tonight following the game. Midwest Sports Tonight is coming up.
Okay. I got it straight now. Thanks for educating me.
You're welcome. Ground ball to Bohart, and this should do it. The Cardinals avoid the sweep, and the final is 8-4. 17 hits for the Cardinals. For our Bud Sports crew and Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Off day tomorrow. Join us on Friday night at 6:30 for Cardinals Tonight. Midwest Sports Tonight is coming up right now from the Fox studios.